this mic with it just being right here. Is it nominal? Do I need to speak up?
No,
Or is it
should be good.
phenomenal?
What if I turn my head away?
I usually edit everything, and
Because it's easier to turn me up than it is down, or is it the opposite way?
I can turn you up in post. I also speak.
Hey, can you give me an alien voice in post? Damn it.
I
Can
need
you
to,
give me a Bruce Campbell effect in post?
I need to turn the AC off. It's gonna get hot upstairs.
Well, let's just get hot here. That's all I care about. Am I right?
Yeah.
I did come ready to take my clothes off. I really want to rip the tag out of the back of Dick's shirt. It's just...
Dick shirt.
It's just tempting.
Thank you.
I saw it earlier and I meant to say something, but I was hugging on Dave.
I, too, have been distracted by such necessities.
I'm always distracted by myself, too. Wake up like, God damn. Fuck.
Wait, the way my knee goes against your leg, it almost looks like...
Oh, shit.
It's-
Are we one person?
Yeah, you guys. I don't know what the fuck these guys are doing. Like,
I'm like, wait.
Or that weird scene in that movie Society. You seen that?
Here,
We all become
let me
one.
do this, and then it...
Oh, shit.
See that it's
Oh, shit. It's a heavily delayed.
heavily delayed.
It's because Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
She showed her boobies on the sports game.
On the sports game, I remember that. I actually missed the titties. I was playing.
I saw it.
Halftime show. It was during the halftime show, and they were like,
Oh, God,
"Bro,
look
you
how
missed
white
it.
my
You're 11
thigh
years
is."
old. There's a titty on TV." I was like, "That's fucking bullshit, bro." Like,
That was the one thing I remember. That's the one thing I watched. I was like, oh, boob it.
Nipple shield too, so it wasn't like titty. It was all like your young mind had to process it before it was like.
yeah, no, and they cut it out immediately, right? Like they just cut off, went to another camera right away. but
Yeah.
it's
I remember going,
The
a
damage
boobie.
was done.
No, yeah, it's just like I remember that Lewis Black did a sketch on that where he's like, "Hey, why would I think that what would traumatize kids the most about it is not the titty itself, but how much all the news stations talked about the titty afterwards. That was hot news for like a minute. It's just like, oh, was the titty ethical? Should the titty?
One
should
might
we put the
say it
titty
was hot
away?
titties. I don't know.
T.I.D.
You can't call
DDY.
it an ugly titty.
Yeah, it's not an ugly titty. It's just,
Titty.
All titties are beautiful, man. Like, it's just like
Welcome to the
children.
tit cast.
I'll
Tit
take-
cast.
I love titties, any color.
I like them all different shapes and sizes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Fucked an ostrich. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Mike Pence got fucked by a horse.
What?
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 Just that's it. No further
Whoa, what?
investigation.
No way. Weird.
When he went,
That's
it was
crazy,
all
bro.
like-
Jamie, can you pull up that video?
You're done DMT?
You ever done DMT?
I have not. Oh, shit. Thanks. How do I?
Here,
I got you.
Let me
I
show
get
you.
it. I was being funny.
Here, hold my beer.
I was being funny. Okay.
Want to see the best way to open a beer?
Yeah.
You push down on that, which lifts it up,
Whoa.
and you never have to dig your nails out of it ever again.
Whoa. Thanks. I was trying to be funny, but it backfired. But thanks.
You learned something. Take
Hey,
that.
went from funny to a learning experience.
I don't like it. I don't like to
Welcome
learn.
my show. I'll be here all night. Well, I'm not. The show.
What up, Clint Chase?
Welcome to the show.
Show. Be here all night. Educating.
Educate.
All right, are we ready to record?
Flat Earth
Sure.
Society.
No, I'm good. I mean, what?
Okay, I guess.
What on earth is that?
That's Nick Jackson.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days.
I need to change that.
No.
I need to make it more relevant,
No, it's very.
Have me do it.
especially since he actually didn't eat 40 pizzas.
He fucked the pizzas.
But he was so visibly damp. He was so believable. Like,
He was the moistness.
it was off the charts.
He probably had COVID-19. That's why.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Podcastrophe, the show where we just talk a bunch of random shit. This is episode 137. I'm one of your hosts, Dick. I got my other host over there, Dave.
What up? It's me,
And
Dave.
We have a full couch yet again.
Yeah, we do.
There's a Dave sandwich going on.
I like it.
We got
I'm the meat.
you are the meat.
Ooh. Now I'm warm meat.
Oh yeah, and if you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
recognize that voice over there, that's longtime guest, Patrick Yoki.
Get your towels ready.
It's gonna get wet in here.
And which one do you prefer to be, the top or the bottom?
Both.
Yes.
And
I am sourdough. I am good at all angles.
well, we got both ends of the bun, even though he's only on one side.
No, no. You know me. It's just regular bread. It's not buns. It's just Wonder Bread.
Vanilla bread.
Vanilla bread.
Equivalent
I
to a
only
teaspoon of
like
sugar bread.
regular bread. I only like regular bread. We got Austin Hill
Hello, hello.
returning. It's been a while.
Been a while.
It's been a while since we've done really a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Same.
Last time I was here, we introduced the viewers to the Trump Crux.
Yes. Yes.
Is there
Who was here with you?
I don't remember.
Somebody was here with you. Oh, it was Steven and Creed, I think.
No, it was your friend from work, and you brought Taco Bell. And I think one other person.
Taco Bell friends.
I think.
the best?
No, I
kind?
think Creed was here.
Yeah, it was Steven and Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about Trump quite a bit at the end of it, and we talked about Harry Potter a bit, and we're like, what if Trump has a Horcrux? A Trump Crux? And we are trying to figure out where they are.
You don't say that in the air. He's going to try to trademark it. He's going to take the rights.
He'll make
I
us
think that- I
suicide
think that episode
ourselves.
is actually called Trump Crux.
Yeah, it is. It totally is.
But we decided before we started today that Jeffrey Epstein was one of his Horcrux.
Yeah, and it's been defeated.
It's been defeated.
It's been defeated.
And
Jesus.
it means
The
and if you
Clintons.
see the state in which Trump is viewing the sadness, I feel like he didn't make 7 cruxes. He might have only made 3.
All I'm saying is the internet is hero, because all those kids that supposedly reserved seats at that Trump rally only to not go.
And that was a Gen Z thing. That
Yeah, it was like 15 and 16-year-olds. A bunch of 15, 16-year-old TikTok users
yeah,
just got online and
reserved max amount of seats that they could per person.
and the what's her name, McEnany, his press secretary, she was like, well, the thing is, a lot of families wanted to come, but they didn't want to risk bringing it back to their families. Like, you know, like, you can understand that. And it's like, what, they didn't want to risk getting the Democrat hoax?
They didn't. Oh, I've even bet they didn't want to risk infecting their children with Trump.
Oh, that's already happened.
It's quite
sadly.
quite an addiction, quite an
The
infection.
Trump Crux
The Trump
is
crux.
bleeding in a spiritual way, and it's trying to spread its maleficent
Seed.
plague.
He
upon
poured
the
all his
masses.
hatred and all of his malice into Jeffrey Epstein.
That's his phylactery.
Like a lich.
Yeah, just like a lich. Thank you.
Yes. High five.
D&D shit.
I played that once.
I played it a lot of times.
I played it.
I jumped out a
twice.
window onto a zombie. That was hot.
Nice.
Yeah. It was dope.
I once recorded the howl, or you know what a death crow is?
Death Crow. No.
Death crow.
Sounds
Crow.
metal as fuck.
Neverwinter Nights. Not Neverwinter, but
Nope.
What is it? What is that game? I'm trying to think of the name of the city. Fuck, but it's been incorporated into D&D through D&D Beyond. But it's this massive, ugly thing. Do we have R&D department so we can Google this up?
Do it. R&D department, stenographer.
I don't live here.
Oh, God.
Do it.
Yeah, we have a stenographer. I didn't know if you knew that, but we have a stenographer behind the green screen, just listening, half-ass typing everything.
She's mostly drunk all
All
the
right.
time.
What's the
All
D&D?
the time.
What's the R&D department? I said, what's the D&D department?
What's the
D&D
D&D?
department.
That's my department, bitch.
The Dick and Dave
Back off.
department.
Dick and Dave department.
Department.
Name of the show. Change it. Change the show.
Death Crow.
It's gonna pull up Brandon Lee. Get it?
Nope.
He died filming The Crow.
Go do it.
Images for Death Crow. How do crows sense death? How do crows
How
die?
do they?
I mean, I have
Sorry,
many
sorry,
questions.
not that.
Yeah,
What does it mean when black crows are around your house?
No,
Death.
Deep
What
Crow.
could this mean?
It's a Deep Crow.
Hey, Google.
What does this mean?
Deep crow?
Yeah.
D&D Deep Crow. Death Crow. Brandon Lee.
Standard crow.
Get that joke again.
Like this?
Ooh, that looks close. Look at that mean looking thing. Yeah, that top right image right there.
This? Or this right here?
Yep, that's what that is.
It looks like an ant, like a fucking vicious ass ant with a beak.
If you can find the stats and stuff on it, it's this big nasty fucking bird thing.
All right.
It's at least 12. That's the stats.
At least 12.
Stats.
At least 12, but over 9,000. You could do
Not
that.
quite.
Not quite.
You gotta read a little bit because it comes in a book.
Yes. Oh wow.
Wait, we're fucking reading on this show?
You might want to hold the
Ew.
mic closer to your mouth because Alan Coxhead can't hear you.
Alan
He says,
Ellen!
I can't hear what Austin is saying, and that's a shame because he has the voice of an angel.
I do have a voice of an angel.
Gore
Alan, I
crow.
love you.
It's a gore crow. Swarm of gore crows. Medium swarm of tiny undead neutral evil.
Well, that's not.
That's a swarm.
That's not the deep throat.
It's a
A gore crow, tiny undead neutral evil.
I'm gonna pull up my R&D. See if we can double team this.
No, we can't have two R&D.
Go for it.
One has to be R, one has to be D. We can't.
I'm only allowed to put in 30% of effort, so
We can't cross the streams.
go for it. You get the rest of it.
We're getting nerd shit up in here.
Mm-hmm.
So how you been, Patrick?
I have been doing just swell. Out of work like everybody else.
Yeah.
Waiting for the students to come back on campus, and other than that, it's just a dead zone. Went out to that protest. Didn't get tear gas though. I missed that part.
Nice.
Same.
Missed
Yeah,
that part.
Look at that right there. Already got it.
There you go.
Armor class 18, huge monstrosity.
So not
The ancient deep
Not
crow
tiny.
is a
Or
huge
neutral.
monstrosity, unaligned. Armor class 18, natural armor. 187 hit points.
It's a lot of hit points. Probably CR
Speed,
rating at
20
least 10.
feet, Flight 80 feet. 23 strength, 16 dex, 23 con, 10 int, 15 whiz, 19 charisma. Actions, multi-attack. The ancient deep crow makes 3 attacks, 1 with its mandibles and 2 with its claws.
Multi-attack's pretty tough. Nerd shit. Yeah. Nerd. Fucking nerds.
Ooh, nerds. Shadow Call. The ancient deep crow releases an ear-splitting call. Each creature within 60 feet of the crow and able to hear it must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw. On a failure, the creature takes 10 or 3d6 psychic damage.
That's a lot of damage.
I was playing a character that has a this magic item called a whisper jar, and I can record stuff with it, whatever I want. So I recorded that as it was screaming at me, and I was able to save it and use it back on shit as much as
Nice.
And like,
Nice.
and as I leveled up my whisper jar, because we were doing something called the Acquisitions Incorporated. It's something these very popular D&D streamers do, and they created this group called Acquisitions Incorporated. And if you're in D&D Beyond and subscribe to that, you can use their content, or you can buy the books that have some of their stuff in it. And one of the things was a whisper jar for which my character was able to get joining them, and it would level up as you used it. And
So homebrewed shit.
damn.
This is homebrew shit that became actual D&D content.
Nice.
So I leveled it up, and I was able to record that, and as it leveled up, I could use it more, and it became more damaging. I showed it off to what is his name? Bob Darkmange.
Bob the
I thought
Dark
there was a D&D
Bob the
like,
Dark
legendary
Mage.
D&D character named
My name
Bob.
is Bob.
I don't know. He's part of the,
right on,
he's
Bob.
Part of the, he's part of the main cast, and my DM was playing him,
Bob.
and I was all, my character was a halfling
I love it.
that enjoyed copious amounts of psychedelics and everything else, and women and drugs. So
It's
he was
pretty
really-
halfling.
He at
Like-
one,
Any
at
halfling
one
should.
point in the campaign, his mind got a little extra twisted because he dove into this vat of what looked like water that showed him every possible outcome ever within the multiverse, and he dunked himself in, came out, and it was an instant, but it felt like hours and hours and hours, so because he saw it forever. And right before that, he dumped himself into one that showed him his worst nightmares that felt like an eternity.
Just clowns.
And then he was just like, so that really twisted his mind. So he would see people and immediately like have like memories of them in the future and think that upon them, and it like screwed with a bunch of stuff. But he used this
Fuck with the timeline.
fucking deep.
Don't
this
fuck with the
shadow
timeline.
ball
Fuck with the timeline.
to show off to Dark Mage
Bob.
Bob.
Robert.
But he's all like, "Oh no, I did this," and the guy's like, "What? Really? Let me see." And he tried it, and he'd already used it once, and that was like a restriction. He's like, "Well, come back. I'll come back tomorrow." And I'm like, he's like, and then he's like, "All right." And he threw out a bunch
Meanwhile,
of
he's
frogs.
like, "No, you won't."
He actually he
won't.
came back because he's like, "Man, that sounds really cool."
Yeah.
And he's like, he threw out a bunch of frogs, and I did it, and he blew the frogs up.
Take that, frogs.
All
Ah,
existence,
D&D.
D&D.
Weird shit happens.
You
It's
use a
okay.
strange magic item that
He
records
said he was
stuff.
coming back, but you knew he wasn't because you've seen the future.
Actually, he was coming back, and I was really.
He
excited
knew
about
that.
blowing
It's
the
a
frog.
joke, Austin.
The calls were
No,
coming from
he
inside the
knew.
house.
Ah, good one.
That's why I said he could
I
explode
can
frogs
talk.
because he knew he was gonna bring frogs.
I could talk too.
But yeah,
Words.
that deep crow was fucking wild, and that was my story.
Some wicked ass.
Good
Right
one.
on, man.
It's good.
What a great start to the show.
Is it?
Normally it's me that does the D&D nerd shit. Good job, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
You fucking nerd.
I'm missing some D&D.
So am I.
Hard.
I mean, I played the other day, but I still miss it.
I had to turn you down, Patrick. Damn.
Okay.
Turned
I
down
think
for
I did.
Patrick.
It was
Did
either
you
or
turn me up so people
either
can hear
you
my
or Dave.
angelic voice?
I can't remember. I don't know which one's.
I'm the middle one. My name-
Bumpity,
I'm right here. I'm Dave.
Bumpity,
I don't know.
I'm Austin.
Patrick talk.
No.
Ah, both of them spiked. I don't know
Aha.
which one's which.
Well, what about mine? What's mine doing?
Yours is still good. I got yours set up. Pretty
How's
good.
mine? Wu-Tang forever.
Wu-Tang forever.
Forever, ever, forever, ever.
Okay, so that's you, Dave. You're not. It wasn't Patrick that was spiking. It was you.
I always spike things.
Ooh, like
A little rapey. I like it.
No, 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 no. Don't put that on me. No,
you,
no.
You said it.
You better not run for office in 20 years.
I'm gonna have to hold my drink with the hand over the top over here, so Dave doesn't roofie me.
Thankfully, I have that nail polish.
I only
that changes
consensual
if there's a
roofie.
in it, so yeah.
You know, guys can't get hard if you roofie them, right?
Cardi B can.
Bacardi B.
Bacardi B.
Cardi B. What a character.
What a character.
She exists.
I
Like that-
learned that
you don't have
information
anything
off
good
of
to say.
SVU.
Really?
Yep. I also learned how to make a guy hard while he's on roofies from SVU.
How?
From life, though, not from SVU.
Yeah.
From life. A lot of effort.
I was roofied and I was into it, so I wanted to get hard.
Yeah.
And
So
I wasn't. I was not
Some
about to let the
self-experiment. Some several nights of self-experimentation.
I was
like,
not about to let this roofie get the
Deep.
best of me.
I will not be
Deep
defeated.
experimentation.
Tequila was involved. Get off me.
Oh, it did.
Or get on me.
Well, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, Dave. Why would you?
Yeah, let's
say-
go back
why
to the
would you
deep
start
crow.
a conversation like that, Dave?
It's a deep throat.
Let's
Deep
go back
throat?
to the deep crow.
Deep crow. Oh, I'm still trying to remember the game that's from.
Hey, Dave.
Baldur's
What's up,
Gate.
buddy?
Baldur's Gate.
That was a classic, man. Baldur's
Hey,
Gate
no,
was great.
Baldur's Gate was titties.
I finally
Actually, I
started
could
playing
probably-
Spider-Man.
Ooh, Spider-Man
Yeah, Spider-Man.
for the PS4. It's good.
I'm gonna have to put it on hold as I play The Last of Us
Ooh, I'm about 8 hours into The Last of Us.
Part 1.
Oh, I'm in part 2.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I heard. Is part 2 like?
See, I don't understand. Like I said, I'm only about 7 or
Hey,
8
Nick
hours
Maxton.
in. Hey, what's
Hi,
up,
Nick? I love Nick.
He must have accidentally clicked in here again.
I love Nick.
Rude.
I love Nick too.
I also love Nick.
It's part of the Neverwinter series.
What about you, Patrick? Do you love Nick too? You didn't say shit.
Called
I had a
out.
feeling somebody was gonna
Called
visit
out.
Pat. Like he was just gonna come out from here and just like, you say something? Say something, Pat? Huh?
No, you didn't. You didn't say anything.
It's just, I love you, Nick. Just the bro hug of I love you. Just
Come on, bring it in. I love you.
But yeah, I started playing about 8 hours in the second Last of Us, and
And how
I
do
don't
you
get
feel
it.
about it?
I don't get all the bad the bad reviews. People are saying, "Oh, it's awful." I think it's great.
He says, "I see you, Pat." Yeah, like I don't understand the hate either. I mean, given I've never played either game, but the thing is, like, I came across my first actual friend that was like, yeah, fuck this game, and he hasn't played it, but he said he claims to have watched a whole playthrough from beginning to end. He's like, yeah, fuck this game. Glad I didn't spend any money on it.
On what?
Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
It's
I
so
saw.
good, though.
I saw one
Hey, Chris.
guy, a gamer, a streamer, and I saw the video of him just ending it, and he pulled it out and just snapped it.
Yeah, he snapped I think I
What
saw
the
that was the
fuck?
first thing I saw was
And
him
I'm like,
snapping that
what?
disc in half.
But why?
Because he was just all like, he ended it, and like you see earlier, I went through and saw earlier videos where you could tell he's like he's into it and all that, and then he's like you could tell he ends it, and he just like puts his controller down, and he looks like super depressed, pulls the disc out, what?
Because it makes him
Snap it.
think.
Because he's just all like he
That's what
hated it.
Brandon Stone's been telling me. Because he's been playing it, and he's like, this game is harsh. This game is brutal, and it shows a side of humanity that you don't really want to see, and you don't
Yeah.
really want to play as. If that says anything.
No, it's very true.
He said,
I'm digging it.
He said it really makes you think, like, yeah, these people you're killing are technically bad, but they're only bad to you. They're not actual. You're bad to them. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
You're the bad guy in somebody else's story. And that's like, oh, fuck.
It's like, wait, I am.
A lot of
like-
people can't handle that. It's
so real
made me
world.
sad already. I've played about 8 hours in. I've been sad twice.
How many dogs have you killed, Dave?
I say sorry every time I have to.
I bet you do. I would too. That's
Tyler
so-
was watching me play, and
it's
I
such
I
a
had to.
bummer.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Bam. Like,
I read somewhere that that they basically make it so you don't have to kill them. So I was joking with Brandon about that. and
Hi,
he's-
Chris Kerrigan.
He goes, yeah. What you can do is you can reload, and then you try to find a way around the dog. You don't actually. There's not like a pacifist option. You have to literally reload. I'm like, oh, damn.
I was playing last night, and I just got a bow, and I was like behind. There's a guy walking by. I'm like, I'm gonna get him, and I just had it lined up perfectly, and my controller died. I turned it back on. I just shot like way up in the air, and this guy saw me and shot me. I'm like,
Fuck you.
dumb.
Dumb. The way you guys are describing this game makes me think of that Viggo Mortensen movie, The Road.
Yeah, The Road, so good.
Is that where he had
That
his son with
movie
him?
was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
goddamn depressing.
I heard
really
The
about
book
it.
is
I
worse.
really want to see it.
I've
Like,
heard the book is way worse.
like
Oh shit.
I was watching it, and like I was with my ex-wife and some of her friends, and we're over at their place, and we're like trying to figure out what we want to watch, and her friend's husband had just rented a bunch of movies, and that was one of them because it had just come out on DVD, not Blu-ray. It was before then.
It was
Oh, the before times.
before times.
The pre
What
PS3
up, Nick
era,
Russell?
not the HD DVD era of the 360.
Oh my god, that lasted all of 3 months.
Yeah.
Where you had to get an actual attachment for your Xbox 360 just to play HD DVDs.
Oh my
Or if
God.
you got the Elite.
I never got the Elite.
I didn't get a 360 till the Elite, the black.
Yeah,
That's when I got one
I had
because
one of
Fable 2.
those.
I had the Halo 3 themed 360, and then when that finally red ringed, it red ringed on the day that the Xbox 360 Slim came out. So I was like, "Fuck yeah, it's fate."
Bill Gates just letting
It,
you know.
it was
like,
fucking fate. So I went to Lafayette and I went to every store. It was sold out. I go to Toys R Us. It's the last one. F for Toys R Us.
But,
F for Jeffrey.
but anyway, we're like sitting there watching it, and we're like,
Trapped
oh no,
in
let's
doing
watch
nothing
something
wrong,
fun. And then we're like, the way the movie's described on the box doesn't, and it's just all like, it sounds like this really kind of like uplifting. Oh no, he loses his wife, and it's him and his son, and they're surviving, and I'm like, oh no, this actually sounds like a post-apocalyptic, but like a really upbeat more.
no.
No.
No, I was not prepared for the night of depression I had to
Let me
deal
ask
with
you this,
after
did you
that.
get laid after?
No,
Good. 'cause
Absolutely
that's
not.
fucked up if you did.
actually, I
watching
might
that.
have.
yeah, yeah.
Knowing my ex-wife,
I need some endorphins. Please have sex with me.
Like, really sad, like, just please.
Please just I need the endorphins. I need the endorphins.
just let me cry. Just don't look at me in the face.
Guys, quit describing my Friday night.
But
It's
yeah,
a joke. I stayed at home
But
Friday.
that was
Me too.
my favorite.
Cried.
My favorite line.
by
at the-
myself.
my favorite line at the end of that is at the end of the movie is like, because Vigo's character is always like, remember, stay on the road. Remember, always stay on the road. And, like, remember, follow the roads. He's telling that to his son as the more and more fucked up he was getting the whole time. Like, he kept getting shot or having shit broken, and like he was just like going through the worst of the worst, and then he dies.
Meanwhile, he's just picking up rads like crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No rad X.
Stop drinking out of the toilet.
But yeah, he ends up dying, and then his son is finally approached by this family that's been following them. They're like, we've been really worried about you. Like, the man you was with just keeps putting you in these dangerous situations, and we noticed that he was endangering you, so we weren't sure if he was part of the Eaters or not. The Eaters being the cannibals
Yeah.
that hunted people on the
I need
road.
to watch that movie. I need some depression in my life.
I got plenty if you want to borrow it.
Yo, you need some. I got some back, man. Like,
I mean, I can give you like
Stop.
3%, but I'm afraid you'll kill yourself.
Fuck.
This show got real
Real
sad.
dark.
but the guy he goes even if you don't stay with us, you don't have to. We're not forcing you. Goes, but remember, stay off the road.
Like the one thing
That's been like destroying his dad and keeping them in danger is that his dad stayed on the road the whole time, kept following the road, so he kept getting attacked by.
There's a guy out in the open. Let's get him.
yeah, hey, I see that guy.
Fuck.
Look at that dumb guy.
And like the only time they were ever safe at all is when they got off the road and were in this little fallout shelter. That's the only time they were ever safe or anything. But they ended up being close to one of the eater dens, and that was really fucked. That was super fucked.
I need to watch that movie again. It's probably been about 10 years since I've seen that movie.
I highly recommend everybody watch it and have somebody
It was so
for
good.
absolute
Cry
emotional
on.
support not watching it with you.
Just somebody on the other line, like, hey, I need you for the next
Dude,
2.5
it was
hours.
so
I need to call my
Be
mom.
available.
Hey,
Mom?
I'm gonna watch the. They were like,
Mom.
hey, just have somebody set up. They're like, I'm about to watch this movie. It's this long. I'm gonna need you to come over about last 10 minutes of the movie, and it's like show up and bring like ice cream, a heated blanket.
I need an emotional support.
That
friend.
sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll do that anytime you want.
Maybe not even a heated blanket, just
I need an emotional
go-
support, Dave.
go-
Right here?
That's an episode title.
That is, yeah.
An emotional support, Dave.
He's
And then like
registered.
a weighted blanket and some ice cream
Should've.
and just someone to hold me.
I slept under a weighted blanket for the first time last night.
They're
How
the
was it?
best.
How was it?
As like a sleep time, not like I'm napping or I'm just trying to relax. No,
It's-
my dog chewed up my one of my comforters, so yeah, that's in the trash, and the other comforter was still kind of wet from cleaning it. So I was like, I'm getting my weighted blanket. And I slept so fucking good.
They're the best. You wake up feeling just awesome.
Refreshed.
We got some comments. Nick says, "Don't subject Mama Chips to that." I don't know what he's referring to.
Oh, depression.
What I was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Mama
Carrie
Chips.
Wiley Rummler says, "Hi, David."
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hello, David.
That's my aunt.
David.
Hello.
David.
Hello.
You want another natter day?
Sure.
Could you grab me since you're getting in there, my key lime powdered donuts?
Oh, yes.
How are you, Patrick?
Powdered
I'm doing
jelly
all right.
donut.
Good.
I actually did something I haven't done in a while. I read a book.
Whoa.
It
Oh, shit.
was a very good book.
Thank you.
It was
Who
actually.
the fuck reads?
Yeah, I read. I should probably get in the back.
Oh, I've been meaning to read, but I just haven't.
It was actually written by D.B. Weiss. It's about the siege of Leningrad, which is a battle
Oh,
in World War
really?
II. And it's
Nice.
really, really. The city was under siege for like 900 days.
It was written by D.B. Weiss. Did it?
Yeah,
was
David
it, like,
Benioff. I think
Was it super like rushed?
No, see, that was the thing that took me off guard. This was literally like I was recommended this book like
I don't like
right
the smell.
after the Game of
Do you like
Thrones
key lime
thing
pie?
that happened. I'm looking at you, D&D.
Then you're not.
Anyways,
gonna like it.
but
David,
I
do
was
you
like-
like key lime pie?
I love key lime pie. I've had it. It's delicious, but I'll try it again.
I'll try it again.
I'll have some more.
first
I'm
time.
never
I'm
gonna.
ready for a new show like fucking Chernobyl again.
Yeah, I need something. See, Chernobyl was premium depression. Nothing cool
The-
happened in Chernobyl.
Chernobyl was like premium, like
This
holy.
happened, and
This
holy fuck.
this is realness.
Holy fuck, this
Yeah.
happened.
Oh, watch.
This happened, guys.
I've been watching some.
Why weren't we taught about
Yeah,
this? This
like-
happened.
I've been watching some like real I've been watching some Netflix documentaries on like real shit. Like There's this one I was watching about that was going on about like retelling all these murders and stuff during the Jack the Ripper times in England, and they're like really fucking cool and interesting to watch. But I started watching this one called History 101.
Yes.
Super good.
History
That is
101 's good.
really good. And there's also the Untold Secrets of the United States
Yes,
that
I
I've
watched
been
the
meaning
shit
to
out of
watch
that.
that.
Oh,
and
it's good. It's from like 2013 or something, so it's
Yeah.
kind of dated, but
Have you watched the what
You're
is he called? The Confession Killer?
no. Oh, I started watching it.
That one's wild. Like-
Nick says, I've been reading The Expanse at the request of Mr. Tyler McLaughlin. Show is great too. Yeah, I remember he was so back in January, I think. Yeah, it was January. We went up north and had a network meeting, and on the way there, they were talking about The Expanse. It seemed really interesting. I really need to watch the show. It's on.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar.
I need to pick up and finally just read through and do the whole series for Three Body Problem.
What's that?
What?
What is it?
The Three Body Problem?
I don't know what that is.
Ooh, man. About to get learned. Nick, if you want to chime in on the comments on this to help me out. But man, it's a series. It starts off. I've read most of the first book, The Three Body Problem, twice through now, up to about the same point. It follows. It starts off back during the Cultural Revolution of China. It's based in China.
Okay.
And then it's an
China.
author from China.
Is
And,
it like when communism
It's about
took over,
they get.
or-
It's pretty much they catch a signal from outer space that's extraterrestrials, and they're like because they're got this big radio tower and they're just shooting signals out trying to find something, searching, and
He says Three Body Problem is life changing.
yeah, like I need to just finish it because I keep getting to the same spot and then something comes up and I don't have time to read anymore,
Yeah.
and I just put it down. I don't come back.
I always use reading as like a cool down for the night. Like I'm about to go to bed.
Yeah,
these
like reading
books-
makes
let's-
me sleepy.
Let's
in a
wind
way.
down. But then I got so sick of like stopping, like falling asleep in the middle because I hate it if I don't finish the chapter. So,
Oh no, it pisses me off. I gotta go to a point. And
Oh, but
then
it-
but
there's
it's,
my bookmark. There
so
it
they've
is.
been
Like,
they've been sending signals out into space,
Mhm.
and they get a signal back, and it says, "Hey, we hear you. We're here. Whatever you do not reply. Just do not reply to us. We got your signal. We're here too. But whatever you do not reply."
I got an. Sorry, I got to interrupt this. I got an email from and it says, Mr. Dick, Wankerchief Wednesday. Dick bananas are back on sale. It's from a site called Ship a Dick. It's a site where you can ship a giant cardboard dick to somebody, and you can theme it and all.
you can customize it.
Oh yeah, you can.
I want to find the site where I can ship chocolate dicks to my friends.
I sent somebody a I don't want to spoil it for the person, but I sent somebody a potato with my face on it recently. I've done that once in the past. It's called Potato Parcel. And,
Geniuses.
And you can
Geniuses.
oh yeah you can also put a message on it too. I said something and then I said, "Here is your dictator."
Oh, I get it. I get it.
And it's just
Dick
my
on a
face on it.
tater.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm excited for when they get it. 'Cause,
I
yeah.
like that. I like the pun.
Is it me?
really
very
pisses me
punny
off. I
of
didn't
you.
think of
Thank
potato
you.
parcel
Thank
because
you.
those
I know.
are millionaires
Yeah.
for sending potatoes
So,
in the mail.
back to the Three Body
back
Problem.
to Three Body. So we get that message, and then we're like, okay, and then we send them a message back. Okay, hey, why? And they go, and then they get a message back. We're coming to destroy you. You have, what is it? 400 years. We'll be there, and we will destroy you. So you can prepare yourself.
Don't fucking run. We're coming.
But
Yeah.
Move. Like,
but in the-
400 years.
But in the you don't find
Bother
that
me,
like
I'll be
it's
dead.
it's like the synopsis on the back of the book is like, oh no, we made contact and now they're coming to destroy us and now we're dealing with that. Where I've gotten into the book, it's there's this game in this book where this Chinese scientist keeps playing called the Three Body Problem, and it's like this VR thing that you dive in and you're like trying to figure it out, and it's like you're trying to, and in the game you're trying to see how long this cycle can last before everything dies, and you're trying to figure out the makeup of that universe, why it's doing this, or how it's like how you can survive here, how you can prolong life and make it to the next era over and over again, and figure out what's going on, why you keep seeing these three stars or this sun or long sun and all that. And he figures it out and then gets invited to go meet this group of people. It turns out that these guys are sympathizers for this alien race, and what that is it's more of a based on their planet, and you're trying to figure out what's going on their planet, how to save it. But instead, they're already on their way to our planet.
Yeah, they've been on the way for 400 years.
Yeah. So they're
It's
not
a long
trying-
time.
So he
Such a
finds
long
out that
time.
they're no longer trying to figure that out because they've already left. But
Sounds
300
interesting.
years in, just get a
but the thing
text,
is,
"You
they're
up?"
using it. They're using it as a model to recruit people into their cult per se,
Okay.
and it's like all the way up to it is really good. It's really well written. Like it talks about uses actual like stuff that happened during like Chinese Revolution and the Cultural Revolution and on that and other stuff. And it has a great way of like having this little bullet on it, and it goes to the bottom of the page and like this is what we're talking about.
Okay.
And it
Oh,
keeps
okay.
you like really
That's cool.
aware of like
I like stuff like that.
and it's like this is what we're talking about. We'll give you this quick little synopsis of it at the bottom of the page, telling you what you need to know and
Yeah.
to understand what's going on, so you're not just like lost, like what.
I always love books when books do that.
But it's
It's a book inside a book.
it's
I
one of
am
those
stupid
books
book.
that
Teach
you,
me.
you get reading it, then it's all like, man, this is so hard to put down because it's so good. Because the whole time you're like, there's something else going on behind what's being
Yeah.
said and what's being told. Like that there's certain characters that have a whole nother agenda going on. There's this whole other thing going on, and it's crazy. And there's 3 books to it, and Nicholas Maxon was such a sweetheart and a good friend, and he bought me all 3.
Nice.
Aw.
Very nice.
And I am the dickhead friend that still hasn't finished them.
It's
Way to
okay,
go.
I've been reading Master and Apprentice, the Qui-Gon Jinn Obi-Wan book from like last year. I'm still halfway through it.
He gave me these books 2 years ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta get on that.
I'm reading that and Fire and Blood, the Targaryen book, which is really good. It's just I just need to keep reading it. It's just so much,
Yeah.
much.
Stories
Words
like
are
that
hard.
are really dense.
The last chapter was the longest chapter, and it was over Maegor the Cruel, which is one of Aegon the Conqueror's. It was his firstborn, I believe. Holy shit, he was an asshole.
Bad dude.
Bad dude.
Targaryens, great or terrible? No real in between.
No, not really.
I read it. That book's really hard to get through.
Yeah.
I read it.
Read it.
Hard to get
Especially
through.
I remember us listening to the
Oh,
audio
God.
tape of you're like he asked me for permission to put on the audio tape of it, and I was like,
We were working at 2 Men in a Truck, and we were going somewhere.
I was like, why? And he's like, oh no, you'll find out. And it's like there's some very coarse material in there,
like the
Yeah.
child orgy in the sewers.
yeah.
The-
Damn, Stephen King, I see
Damn,
you.
He was working through some shit in that book.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like the height of his like cocaine fueled
Locked
days.
himself in a house with
Yikes.
a ton of coke and just was like bang out this whole script in
Let's
one
bang out
Friday
this whole
night.
script and my childhood nightmares.
Yeah, like god damn.
Yikes.
And scars. Like I'm showing you the scars of my childhood in this story. Let's go.
And he did.
And I was traumatized for him.
Mm.
I read the whole. I listened, but it's still
What's Chris
reading. It
saying up
counts.
there?
Chris Kerrigan says, I wanted to hit someone with revenge crabs.
What?
I don't know
I feel
what
like that
is.
was why we were talking about like the ship a dick and the
Oh, okay.
Potato
It'd be a little
parcel.
more complicated. It'd probably cost some more money to ensure its completion, but I mean, we can get it going. Like,
I mean, I have a
It's
good.
like live crabs. You said
yeah,
someone.
like-
I mean,
I already have a good idea on how and which to do that.
no. Well, let's go. Let's get into it.
let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Like,
Revenge
We have
crabs.
content to create here.
Revenge crabs would be A, towards a
On the
girl, or
clock.
B, towards a dude.
Yeah, I mean, 2 biological genders. Yes.
Or 2 biological genders. Revenge crabs, you could do it
I'm gonna get so
in
much
the
shit.
first perceived
I'm
way.
so glad I don't have a real audience.
Yeah.
The first perceived way I thought of is sending them like a
Twitter's blowing up.
fleshlight that you have properly resealed with all the proper everything on it, but you injected a bunch of crabs into it, and every guy, other than any guy that I would think I would need to put revenge crabs on, is gonna see that and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna try it." Especially if it's got lube and it's just from a no return address.
Especially if it's got the lube got me.
Yeah, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know the. Just like yes.
If you have
Trap
a
here.
perfectly sealed, unopened bottle of lube, and then what appears to be a perfectly sealed,
What
unopened
the hell? He said.
fleshlight.
He said you used to be able to order it online. You used to come with shampoo and everything.
What?
It's a kit. Hey,
They have a kit.
I gave you crabs, but you can get
Here's
rid.
some
You
shampoo.
can get rid
Hit
of
it with the
Here you go.
shampoo. That makes me think of that Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode where Carl uses the magnifier array that Frylock develops on his dick, and he's got this giant dick, and all
Oh,
these
he's
giant
carrying it
crabs,
around in a wheelbarrow and
Yeah.
everything.
where he's like, he's all like, "I got some movies to make."
Yeah, he's.
And he's all like, and then the crabs start coming out. He's like, "Oh no, don't worry about them. If they get too close to you, just hit them with the shampoo."
I love Carl. He's my
You
favorite
know.
supporting
Hey,
character
banana,
ever.
meet the enforcer. I don't like that. I'm gonna be called
I love
spaghetti.
his
I want to be
Fine,
called
whatever.
spaghetti.
Fine, whatever.
I love the Moonanites that keep stealing his necklace, that gold chain.
Yeah, the
necklace.
chain he has with the. I think my 67-year-old dad walked in on me watching that, and he thought Carl was just
Carl's
a
the
gem.
man.
And like Frylock, like Carl, nobody has more sexual energy than you, and it shows him just standing over there with his flip flops and his fucking.
I drew flames on my pool, so it's like my pool's tearing ass around the yard.
Jesus. Yeah, Nate Phillips actually interviewed the guy who voices Frylock.
Oh, I remember that.
on,
Yeah.
The Voice of Survival. Yeah.
He has had a bit part in another random Adult Swim show. Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Very good.
I've heard of that. I'm not.
Don't know.
It's hell is an office building, like you just work there. Satan
Okay,
sends
now this sounds familiar, but I don't remember the name of it. So
Your Pretty Face.
yeah,
is
I just
yeah.
didn't remember that.
But it was just like they're shoveling coal, and one of them's like, "Hey, I put an X on this piece of coal and put it in the chute, and then it came out over here." And he's like, "No, that would mean we're doing this all for nothing." They and he there's one episode where the main character Gary.
It's a conspiracy, man.
Yeah, no, he's like, that would mean we're doing this all for nothing. But the main character Gary, his old roommate is the voice of Frylock, or no, Master Shake. So you put a face to that. You know, you hear somebody voice. It's like the guy who voiced Coach McGurk on Home Movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who is that?
Oh, John Benjamin.
Yeah.
H.
Yeah.
John Benjamin.
H. John
No, it's just like I hear him everywhere now. Now it's just like, oh, that's a real person.
You mean Sterling Archer?
Yeah,
Bob?
It
Or
was
Bob
really
from
weird
Bob's
when
Burgers?
it was really weird when I saw him in what's that fucking Wet Hot American Summer?
Yeah.
Wet Hot American
that.
Summer?
Yeah, he's in there, and I was like, oh, you don't look anything like I imagined. That's kind
He had
of
his own
Yeah,
show.
No, it bothers me.
Meanwhile,
John Benjamin has a van?
H. John Benjamin has a van. Yep.
no shit. Meanwhile, you got Patrick Warburton, who looks exactly like you think he looks like.
Or George
Speaker,
Costanza, the guy that plays him.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I always know that guy just as George Costanza.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you should
that's
see.
his name.
Have you seen what he was doing, the voice acting stuff he was doing before Seinfeld and that? It's a gem, fucking gem of a cartoon called Duckman.
Duckman.
Oh, it is the raunchiest, most what the fuck cartoons you'll ever see, and it's pure adult humor in that, and it's called Duckman, and that guy voices Duckman, and it's probably like, what the fuck? You used to play on USA at night, back when we were kids, when USA used to be,
George Costanza.
USA Up All Night.
yeah, before USA Up All Night,
Oh,
because
shit.
that was back when after like 11 o'clock, stuff would get, that they would lose their censorship stuff, because kids went to bed before then.
I did.
So-
that was a good boy.
because-
That was good.
you could-
I
you
ate
could-
my vegetables and said my prayers.
But USA
Yeah, 'cause
used
Hulk
to be
Hogan told me
notorious
to.
for being that channel. Like, if there was a movie that came on,
Jason Alexander.
yeah, Jason
Yeah.
Alexander is the voice of Duckman. But USA used to be notorious with like showing movies that came on after 11 or so that would show nudity and all that stuff too. It was just like completely unedited, uncensored content, and
Just
a lot.
like me.
Uncensored, raw.
And Duckman was one of the shows that came on.
I
After.
recognize this. Yeah, Duckman. It's like it's this weird.
I loaned that to somebody. I think
It looks like a weird mix of like Rocko's Modern Life and The Simpsons.
yeah. It came out before either of those.
Yeah. First episode date March 5th, 1994. Final episode September 6th, 1997. Had a good 3-year run.
Yeah, I have the entire
Simpsons was
collection.
89.
I think, unless I loaned
Had
it to
Dweezil
somebody and never got
Zappa.
it back.
Crazy.
Wait, it had Frank Zappa's kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just
No,
anybody
I totally
listening,
recognize this.
just pull up an episode of that and watch it, and you'll just be like, "Holy shit, this is a fucking gem." It is great. I had the entire
Duckman.
series. I think I loaned it to somebody that I now no longer talk to, who is an absolute just psychopath.
It happens.
Yeah,
I know plenty of those.
It happens.
I watched a gem of movie last night.
Who was that?
Strap in, boys.
that's the name of the movie.
Nope.
Strap in, boys.
I was like,
It's
that-
called Brain Damage. And it's fantastic.
Have you seen Brain Candy?
No?
It's by Kids in the Hall. Brain Candy. Great.
Oh, shit.
It's all about a drug that puts you into this euphoric state that ends up putting you into a euphoric coma.
Oh.
Ooh, am I having fun while I'm doing it?
No, because it ends up being a nightmare, and they have to save these people.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh,
damn it!
No, I'm
I was
sad.
having such a good time.
they were too until they went to a coma.
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
So I still got this email just sitting here like waiting to be opened, and god damn it, I keep forgetting that the mouse doesn't go to my MacBook.
I made
does
Brett
not go to
Maxwell
your
watch
MacBook, man.
1917.
Ship a dick.
That's a
Ship
good
it,
movie.
So I'm still cracked up about Wankerchief Wednesday. Yeah, so it's just a gator.
A what?
It's one of those masks that it's like basically like a tube and you can pull it over your face.
Oh, that's dumb.
So it's okay. This is dick bandanas.
Do
Now
they have
you
dicks
too.
all over them?
Now
Dick-
you
dick
too can
bananas?
sport the cock blocking Corona dick mask. Whether you fold it up with a few hair ties or rubber bands, or wear it cowboy robber style, you'll be protecting others and protecting yourself. And as the genius Mindy Vincent put it in the fat Facebook post, when someone tells me my mask has penises on it, I kindly let them know this is how I determine they are too close. Kindly back the fuck up.
Oh, so it's covered in dicks.
Yeah.
I want one.
Black in color with a white dick print across the front.
Well-
Cock block the Corona.
Are there other color options? From the way back.
Dicks in a box, $14.99. The bag of dicks, $14.99. Happy birthday dick. It's a big cardboard, $12.99. Wow.
Ooh.
Show your friends you care with these dick-olicious goodies. Yeah,
I don't like the word dickalicious.
Yeah, no, that one was just
Yeah.
like, okay, I get it. You're trying to put dick on everything, but like,
Yeah, I sent
Dickalicious.
one of those to my friend in Wisconsin,
With
and it
Kansan?
was just a big dick with a mustache on it, a big handlebar mustache.
No, he's looking for a mustache ride.
you know, you don't have to buy a dick to send somebody. You can just leave a watermelon on their porch, and you will occupy a part of their mind forever.
That's true.
I've
A full-sized watermelon
Yeah.
was just on my porch today.
have you ever just dropped off?
no, not me, but
I was like, oh, damn it.
like, no, it's fucked up. Like,
I-
I'm really having trouble with this, guys. I
I
don't want to talk
once
about it.
made a wall, a small little wall of water softener salt bags on somebody's walkway in front of their house. There was like 5 of them, and it was like this little sandbag wall, and I just left it in the not even like in a very well strategically placed area. It was just like kind of in the middle of the walk where it was like inconvenient to either move them one way or the other, and it was just stacked up there. And so in the morning when they
They're
got
so
up
heavy.
to leave, they're like,
They are
so
heavy.
heavy. I like-
It's a lot of work.
And there was 5 of them, so it was like a decent amount when it was sitting in the yard too. So they had to take it out of the yard so it didn't
Yeah.
like bleed salt into the grass and kill it.
Salt the earth.
Damn, Carthage.
Nick Maxon posted something to Christopher Scott's wall
Yeah.
earlier today about like
saw that.
stealing your neighbor's
The
welcome
floor
mats.
Yeah.
and putting them in front of somebody else. And it reminded me, in which I commented on there, like when I was younger, and I had a lot of friends at more apartment living instead of like renting houses or having their own homes and stuff like that. I would
So glad we're grown up.
I would take their neighbor's welcome mat and put it in front of their door all the time, and I always made sure it was like the same neighbor that I'd steal the mat from and put it in front of their door. And like at one day, they're like, "You need to quit doing this because my neighbor thinks I'm trying to steal their fucking mat." Because it was a really nice mat, and like the one they had was shit. So I'd like move it, and I'd just move theirs out of the way, or I'd put it on top of theirs to where it was like, "Oh no, my mat's nice."
This is a well-to-do apartment household.
We're better than you.
We're better than you, and we
you know it.
I did find one. I did. Ugh. Sorry, I'm starting to grammar that wrong. I was once gifted a welcome mat that had a Tasmanian devil on it that said "Get out" or whatever, and it was just awful and tacky.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So I took it to.
I mean,
somebody.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but you said it, so
It was awful.
Gloves are off.
A bad gift. Sorry, but
It's okay. The person that gifted it to me is already passed on, so they cannot be offended anymore by me just disliking the hell out of that gift.
Well, now I'm sad.
Maybe that's why they gave it, because it was so bad.
That's why they passed on. Jesus, Dick.
So when I
That's
brought it home, like middle of the night, I go out in the
God
apartment
smote
complex
him.
I am, and I go take it to my neighbor down the hall and put it in front of their house because they didn't have one. And later it came out, and it was just like shoved down middle of the hallway, just like they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with it, so it stood in the middle of the hallway.
It became a hall mat.
It was like a hall mat that said "Get out." It was a Tasmanian devil, and it was so bad that they didn't even want to like try to put it on somebody else, or just like felt bad for the mat.
We're just gonna put this here.
Put this here, and hopefully somebody takes it.
And here it will remain.
It
I miss
stayed there for a
those.
couple weeks until some like kids came through and they took it. And I'm like, good kids.
They probably smoked it. Damn
fucking
kids.
Fucking
thieves.
kids.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. I miss going to the west side and seeing all the frat parties. There's some cool times to be delivered to after 10 p.m.
You know what I don't miss on the west side?
Frat parties.
Five Guys, because we got one over here now.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. If
Fuck
you want to
yeah.
pay $19 for a cheeseburger, I've got the
I
place
will.
for you.
Gladly.
I will.
I will too.
Because it's
Gladly.
delicious.
I did it twice a couple weeks ago.
My dad went there. He was telling me about this just this Sunday while I was visiting for Father's Day. He was talking about how he went to the new Five Guys over here. I don't even know where it is.
It's right beside like Moe's and Firehouse.
On
and all that.
26th.
Oh, over there by the pavilions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on Creasy.
Okay. But anyway, he went there, and they're like, they kept screwing up his order. He ordered a cheeseburger with mustard, pickle, and onion. And he got the first one, no onion. He's like, hey, I didn't get my onion. Oh, we'll redo it. Get it back. There's no pickle.
I'd be like, please just give
You
me.
can combine
like
the
the
two.
whole
Give
time,
me a
like-
pickle.
You don't need to remake this. Just give me the item I require, and I will be on my way.
But they're like, we'll remake it. And they remade it. Like, it took them like 3 or 4 tries to finally get it. And they're like, what do you want? He goes, mustard,
Like,
pickle,
I'm not gonna lie.
onion.
There's a satisfaction in like being the customer. I mean, you're an asshole, but for the most part, I mean, sure, they fucked up your order, so you deserve to be righted.
Yeah.
I was wronged. The
You
slight
were
was
No,
me
wrong.
it
offended.
wasn't me. I
But
wasn't
there is
the
a
asshole.
satisfaction being
That's
the
a pretty
customer
Karen
and,
thing to
that-
say.
and knowing that, despite the fact that they could just give you an onion or a pickle, whatever, and
Just an entire onion.
just-
and
just-
not
This
just
entire
hand
onion.
it to
Ju-
him. Like,
just a disc of onion.
no, not even a dip,
No,
just
the
a
full
whole
onion.
uncut and just like takes the bun off
but
and just puts it
there's
on
a
top. And then
satisfaction in
just
knowing instead of getting the one topping that's missing, just hand it to you and you can just plop it on there, whatever. It's easy. They have to remake the entire thing. There's a satisfaction in it. I mean, and I feel so bad knowing that
He
there's
was he was
satisfaction
upset.
in
He's
that.
like, why don't you just take the burger, throw everything back on the griddle real quick, because you just throw the heat back in it, kill all bacteria and everything else, and just add my fucking missing topping. They didn't do it. And they screwed it up the second time too. They gave it, and they didn't have pickle the second time. It was just
30-minute
mustard and
burger.
onion.
Like,
And I'm like, he ordered 3 toppings: mustard, pickle, onion. I was like,
That's
The third
so
time it was just
simple.
mustard.
Yeah, no.
that's
No
so
meat.
Just mustard.
Yeah, no, they
Corn and
just they
mustard.
forget the meat on the other one. They emphasize the vegetables too hard.
You
Like-
know that guy's just like,
No, he's just, yeah, no. You see him in the back, just visibly distressed. Like,
yeah, it's some
I am not doing good on my first
it's some
day.
14-year-old kid just like having a breakdown.
It's-
Just what this Gen Z just getting in there, and he hasn't had enough K-pop for the day to ruin.
yes.
And he's
My
just
3
all
hours
like,
of K-pop hasn't finished. I only got off at 2:78.
so here's my experience from last week since we're shitting on Five Guys. We shit on them, but I'm gonna keep eating there.
Amen.
I go there.
that sounded shitting on Five Guys sounds like the worst porno search
Shitting
ever.
on Five Guys.
That's
a lot of
episode
poop.
title. Episode title: Shitting on
Shitting
Five
on
Guys.
Five Guys.
So
That's a lot of poop.
Yeah, put that into your Pornhub search bar.
oh yeah.
Actually, I will. One
Actually, your
sec.
Oh God.
XNXX, you'll probably get more graphic.
Thank you for your knowledge.
Five.
Hey, I'm,
I love how every time we do this, he has to write it down on his phone.
I do.
love
'Cause
it.
I don't want to forget it. Potential episode titles. Never want to forget them. So I go in. I order my bacon cheeseburger, little fry because you get plenty of fries.
You really don't need fries.
Let's
It's a
be,
lot.
Let's be
Wait,
fair.
when you order there, whatever you say, size, that's the size of the box. They scoop the first amount into your bag
Yeah. And you know why they do that?
because they're dicks.
No, because the heat from the fries actually keeps everything warm.
But if I'm eating it there,
Then you get a shit ton of fries. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, just
They're
oh, no.
potatoes. They're basically free.
They grow on.
I mean, have you
Trees?
seen
They
that?
grow out of themselves.
Potato
Yeah.
trees. Potato trees.
Have you
No,
seen
it's
those-
trees.
have
It's
Have you
trees.
seen those Five
Potato
Guys?
trees.
Have you seen those Five Guys fries memes? And they're like, "Oh no, I only want a little bit of fries." We're like, "So you want all of the fries?" No, just a little bit.
We're giving you an
Hey
entire...
Terry, chop up some more potatoes.
A
This chick needs
fuckload
some
of
fries.
potatoes for this guy.
And I'm like, you're like, no, small fries, just a little bit. And then Terry's in the back. Gotcha, Mike. Got a new fresh truckload here. Let's fuck this bitch up.
So I order that, and I order a Oreo cream milkshake with some whipped cream.
They have milkshakes?
Oh yeah. Oh, they have
fuck?
excellent milkshakes.
I did not know they had milkshakes.
Wrestling?
Yes.
We got to stop 15 minutes earlier than expected.
Okay. So I order that, and I get my burger before I get my milkshake, and I'm like, so I'm just standing there waiting patiently. Meanwhile, the lady that was there, I mean, it takes them a decent amount of time to cook the burger. Like you're waiting there at least 10 minutes.
You got some fresh beef patties being handmade for you.
Yes, exactly. So meanwhile, from while I was ordering until I got my burger, there is still one lady ordering food. So she's ordering 9 burgers. And
That's a lot of
apparently
burgers.
each burger has a specific instructions. And so I'm meanwhile
So you got in line behind.
no, I was not behind her. I was beside her.
So
I-
who went
I-
Oh,
first?
so
I
you're
was-
both ordering at the same
That's
time.
not how
Yeah.
lines work.
That's
There
how
are two
Five
lines.
Guys work.
So meanwhile, so the one person that could
I've
be
been to
making
kindergarten.
milkshakes is tied up with this one person, and the other person keeps having to take orders because people keep coming in. So I'm just patiently waiting for my milkshake.
God damn it, capitalism! Why don't you just?
So
Pay us money.
they that lady finally stops ordering, and she can finally start taking care of the milkshake orders. But guess what? There's 4 milkshake orders in front of mine, even though I'm right there in front of them. And meanwhile, 35,
Goddamn first world problems.
35. All right, it's there. Start making 36. Keep making. I was 38, by the way. So
I'm intrigued
We're
by the
getting
story. Keep
closer.
going. Keep going.
meanwhile, nobody's picking up these shakes, and I'm right there.
Free shakes.
I'm like, I'm 38. Can you just make mine?
Nope.
No, that I have to wait until all of them are made and nobody picks them up. No, nobody picked them up before I got mine.
That sounds like free
That
shakes
sounds like
to me.
that's where I was going. I was
I
like,
wa-
that
I
sounds like
should've
free
been
fucking
like-
shakes.
Yeah, no, you should have just been like, what are you going to do about it?
I just keep grabbing them.
Yeah, no.
You should have gave some homies a ring because there was at least 4 shakes there that were not yours.
I need at least 4 of you here. I'm 1, so we can make the
I
5
was just
guys. It'll
angry.
be funny.
I was angry.
There's 35, 36. There's 3 shakes, See, we're 4 dudes that could have handled all 3 shakes plus yours.
I was angry and not thinking straight.
I was
I
just
just-
seething with rage.
I just wanted to go home and eat my
untethered.
burger and drink my milkshake. Not
Did it-
your milkshake. I don't drink your milkshake.
I drink.
I
Your
drink
milkshake.
your milkshake. I love that movie.
I
seen
drink.
it. Never seen
I'm
it.
finished.
You've not seen There Will Be Blood?
Nope.
That was the last movie I watched with my last surviving grandparent.
Wow.
Oh, that
That's
movie.
a strange
Fun
memory,
fact.
but
God.
Nice trivia.
yeah, no, it's just like literally. Yeah, I don't know why.
There will
that
be
came
blood
up. It was like,
at
oh
the
yeah,
end
I
of
remember
the
watching it
movie.
with grandma.
Wait, what is
Hmm.
what is the main character's name? Daniel Day-Lewis. That's the
That's
That's
the
the actor. Yeah.
actor. Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, he was
Featuring.
great.
Future Day-Lewis.
Dude, he was so good in Gangs in New York. He made Leonardo DiCaprio's character look like a little bitch, and his whole drive for it, just this stupid, childish little bitch fucking.
That's another
Run.
movie I need to watch. I never seen.
But then again,
That's
his,
good.
his
Gang York's
character,
good.
the butcher, was total fucking Klansman.
that.
Total Klansman.
So fuck him.
So, fun fact: the Confederacy was developed and brought about by people just like him, by the butcher in Gangs in New York, that had that mindset, that thought they were Native Americans because they fought in the Great War that gave them America, and that's what made them Americans, and everybody else isn't. And the Confederacy was built upon that mindset and that white nationalism and racism, in which drove deep, that made them think that they were true Americans, when in reality they weren't. They were just these fuckers that came over here. Yeah, they fought for their freedom from the crown, but that doesn't make them Native Americans. But that's one of the lines that he says a lot in it, is that he is a Native American, and
Fuck him.
he
Boo.
Him, not Native Americans.
but he
I was
he
like,
make that
damn,
clear.
David,
Sorry.
you got edgy. Like,
but his character regularly say is like good white Native Americans a lot in the movie, and the Confederacy was you know,
I thought they just did
developed by people of that mindset, like the southern states and all
Man,
that.
I
a
love
lot of people.
arguing with like.
Oh no, CSA apologists are just awesome.
No, it wasn't. Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. It
It's
was
like,
fought
it
over states'
literally
rights.
Was fought over
was
the
fought-
southern economy. The southern governors.
His
fought the
heritage, God
economy.
hate.
It was fought over states' rights.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Fuck
they will
that.
always say it like
what's,
that.
Wait.
Fuck
What's
that.
that? States' rights to what? States' rights to
Hey, what's bleeding
Fuck.
Kansas?
Owning
you don't
people,
know?
own
fuck.
slaves. Shit.
Oh my god.
States' rights to own slaves.
Yeah,
Hey,
States fought over that.
It's heritage, not hate.
It's heritage.
Fuck
yeah,
'em.
man.
That is definitely a solid point, but there were a lot of like what they talk about with states' rights. I'm like, well, what states' rights are you talking about? The states' rights the Southerners were trying to use
You treading on me.
and fight against. They wanted
No
to.
step on snake.
You ever
I
heard
need
of
to
the?
get that.
You ever
flag.
heard of the one? You ever heard of the 1/3 vote? Yeah. What the 1/3 vote is? You guys
Are you
familiar
talking
with
the
that?
1/3 or the 3/5?
Or the 3/5 vote?
That's a compromise.
That's what
Yeah,
it is.
3/5 compromise.
Yes.
It's representation of slaves
Yeah, and that is one of the
for
things
the white man.
That's something that
Yeah.
passed shortly before the Civil War.
Yeah.
Why did the Civil War start? Even though that was passed, that was like a compromise, a 3/5 compromise, because it was the South compromising with the North, because the South wanted to use.
South's like, we got way more population. We
Yeah, we got
deserve
way more
representation.
We need proper representation.
and the North's
but-
like, bro, those aren't people. They're slaves.
I was like,
Yeah,
those are your
it's literally
slaves. They're
just
not
like-
actually.
The North's kind of asshole too.
Well,
Yeah,
the
no,
North used it as these aren't actual like. I was like, you're trying to count your slaves as population, but they are not actually being
So we'll meet
proper
in the
represented
middle.
under
Yeah.
laws and ways, so they can't actually have a vote
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter what they vote because they're slaves, they're owned. Like
So they
if
would
they were
count their
actual
slaves
like
If you're not going to
and-
treat them
and
like
that's-
people,
Yeah.
if
Essentially.
they're not going to be actual free people able to
they're not gonna
benefit
be
from
counted as
this,
whole
then they
people.
can't be counted.
Or at
And
least 3 of them are.
the
but
southern
the other
states
2 aren't.
wanted the right to be able to count
So
them
bad.
as whole people and
This is
whole
all
votes.
so bad.
Like that's one of the states' rights that was being fought for, is the right to use each slave as a whole person towards their voting rights. So they could have this one plantation owner with 800 slaves, so he should have 800 votes that he can use in his own want. And that was one of the states' rights they were fighting for.
Which
right
is
to
stupid.
use
Sounds
Very
slaves
stupid.
for their benefit.
slavery. Sounds
The
like
whole thing was
pro-slavery.
tied up in slavery.
Fuck slavery.
Yeah.
The
I'm glad the British
Emancipation
didn't help the
Proclamation.
Southerners.
The Emancipation Proclamation didn't come about until like several years into the Civil War,
Yeah.
when the South was
Yes.
actually using their slaves and forcing them to come fight for them. And then Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation and put it into effect because, well, the South was seceding, so they didn't have a say in the Senate or government anymore. So that thing just like passed like fucking wildfire on a fucking dry field.
Also,
So-
wartime presidents, pretty powerful.
Yep.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful. FDR
Wartime
and
pre-
all them. Yeah.
I don't need your Civil
But he
War.
put that
Yeah.
through, which meant that any slave that decided to leave and come up north could fight for the North and gain their freedom, which means that their slave owners would no longer have power. But that didn't actually abolish or free slavery, because it took a few years after the Civil War for the 13th Amendment to finally pass to truly abolish slavery. But Lincoln was actually a very well versed and like very strategic president. He knew he used the telephone lines and stuff and the railways and the rail lines to outthink and outmaneuver the southern states.
Mhm.
And that's actually one of the key reasons as to why the North won, because the South was beating the shit out of the North. But because
Until
Lincoln
Grant came in and just devised his Anaconda plan.
there's
Have
that,
you heard
but,
of Gettysburg?
but
I've been to
Eye water-
Gettysburg.
that's
I've been to
awesome
I've been
Yeah.
to Gettysburg.
Awesome
I've been to a
battlefield.
His Anaconda don't want none.
Damn it! I was gonna say that, you son of a bitch.
but
You're
one
off my show.
Until
one of the
you
key
drop
points
your
is that
guns,
Lincoln
hon.
took control of all the
Muskets.
railways and all that, because he's a wartime president, so he's able to take control of all that. So all rail companies that were at one point still contributing supplies to the South, he took control over and cut off all their supply lines.
Yeah.
He cut off all railways going into southern states, so only the North was getting proper supply lines, and he was using the phone lines and all that to disrupt or actually intercept southern messages going back and forth. So he actually, any ones that was using that and they found they were coming from there, he would actually have the Union soldiers go destroy whatever post or whatever phone lines that were connecting them and destroy them to completely cut off their means of communication and
Nice.
supplies.
And then they sent William Sherman in there to kick Georgia in the balls, and the war ended. And
Yeah.
you lost.
And actually, one of the reasons why
He said,
Robert
burn
E.
it all.
Yeah, no, he literally just said,
Burn
he's
it
like,
all!
look, war is bad, so we're just going to dial it up to 11 and make the Confederacy bitch out.
and
Like,
one of the main factors is why the Confederacy was doing so well is because Robert E. Lee was such
he was a genius. He
such
really
a
was.
genius and battle strategist. Like he was going to fight for the North because
But Virginia. went.
Virginia. He's
but,
like, I have
but
to
he's
fight
from
for my
Virginia,
state.
so he had to fight
Yep.
for his state. Like he was all on the Union side, but he was such a statesman that
yeah,
he
he
fought
was
for his
very
state and fought for
passionate
the
about his
Very
state.
passionate
Yeah.
states' rights advocate
Yeah.
before the war. Obviously, I mean, he wasn't, to my knowledge, he wasn't really about
And
the
the
whole, we're
really-
fighting for our slaves.
And the
like-
really fucked up thing at the end of the Civil War, all this Confederacy like laws and legislations and stuff just got absorbed into just American laws and legislation. So nothing really changed other than the abolishment of slavery. Like
Meanwhile,
What?
down in the South, they're
down
still
in
like,
the South, they're still
we're
like
gonna kill you.
Yeah.
like
we're-
even after that, it's still
We don't own you. We're gonna still treat you like shit.
We are still
Like,
very
that was
ignorant.
passed.
Don't get
Kill
us
you.
wrong.
that was
Like,
passed, and it still it wasn't like an immediate happening. That's why June 19th is such an important date for Black Americans, because that was the day the last slave was freed, when slavery was completely ended. When the
Okay.
last
I was wondering what that was. I haven't looked it up yet. So
yeah that's
Thanks
the
for
that's the
clearing that
importance
up
of
for
June
me.
19th, because that's like a lot of people consider that is the true American Independence Day, because that is the day that
every
in
American
which
was free.
every American was free and had their independence.
You know, they wanted to nip. There was, I don't remember a significant founding father when they actually drafted the Constitution. He didn't want slavery a part of it, but they convinced him because And here's the really sticky part about winning a war, where it's like, okay, we're not the United States. Massachusetts can't beat the British Empire. Like, we need more people to help us. We need Georgia. We need the Carolinas. We need all that. And they're like, yeah, but we think slavery is rad. And he's like, but it's not. But that was one thing that they had to do.
Direct quote.
Is they had to suppress that and compromise it and be like, oh, well, you know, all men are created equal, in parentheses, like, well, if you're a slave, then, you know, not really. Like, but, and it's an ugly part of history, but there was some people that tried very, very, very hard to end slavery, because the British ended slavery before we did.
Yeah.
By a significant margin, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they ended the lifelong, like, slavery thing where you own people. They still practiced indentured servitude. If you guys familiar at all with what that is?
Hey, I
So
have
they
you
just
for
work-
5
you
years,
work-
and then
you
you're
have
good.
debt.
Like,
Hey,
yeah.
I have you. You are signing yourself over to work for me and my farms, and I have you for 5 years. And after this, a piece of my land is separated off to you, to where you can have this after this 5 years. But you have to come and serve me and become an indentured servant to my house and my family for this set amount of time.
a lot of poor Europeans did that to get over to America. They
Yeah.
would be indentured servants for a couple years to just pay for the trip across the pond.
And a
Right,
lot,
right.
And the wild thing was
right,
when
right.
it was normally like a 5-year thing, but they started doing it when slavery was like becoming rampant and abundant. It was like it was hard to, you know, go ahead and let somebody do that. So it started being like a 10-year thing, but they would work them and treat them just as hard as their slaves. And most of those people just died in servitude and never were able to get that land. And the family, because it'd normally be like the men would go do this, and they'd have a family back in Europe that's just waiting for them to send for them. Hey, once I have this, I'll bring you over. You come do this, then you'll get this acre or so of my land, or these 5 acres. You get an acre per year, or a half acre per year, as they were doing it, or whatever. And at the end of it, like, you'll have this, and I will bring your family over. And then they would die, and the family would be like, well, what about what they earned in the time there? And it's like, well, it's this time. So if
He's
you
fucking
want to come,
dead.
so
he's,
if
he's fucking dead.
it's
He
like,
should have lived.
No,
Should've
no,
lived.
He should have tried harder.
so the so the
Shouldn't have gotten
so these
shouldn't have gotten that cut
plantation
infected.
so these
like-
plantation owners would be like, well, if you would like to come and finish this contract, I'm more than willing to allow that, but for your trip over here, I'm going to have to add a year, 2 years to what was already
Yeah,
here.
yours not bad.
steep.
But when it'd be
I'd be like, yeah, that's not bad.
But
Not bad
then they'd get this wife and these 2 children over here, and then they wouldn't be able to hack it. The kids wouldn't be able to keep up with it. The wife wouldn't be able to keep up with it, and they'd void their contract. And then, hey, if you're going to stay here, you're going to be in servitude to me for the rest of your life, or you can go ahead and just be poor and just deal with it. And they would do really
Stupid
shady
Being
shit
all
like that all
poor
the
and
time.
shit,
Stupid
not
poor
having
people.
money. Why don't homeless people just buy a house?
Just get money.
There-
15-year-old
there-
white girls on TikTok
there's even
solving
talks that a
problems.
lot of-
Like,
there's even talks
Just
that a
get
lot of
money.
these people that
just get
get
money.
money.
there's
If
talks
you
that a lot
stop-
of the people that
Fucking
did the
idiots.
indentured servitude would be killed before the end of their service, so that way the plantation owner or the big mass farmer or whatever didn't have to give up any of their land.
Yeah.
They're
Because
pretty
they're
greedy.
like- Because they're
I
like,
got a question.
huh?
Not pertaining at all with what you're talking about. Somewhat in terms of like the time period. But do you think they had to deal with icebergs, like on the way over, like the Titanic?
No, that
No.
ice has always been in the ocean.
Ice has always been there.
Ice and slavery.
Yeah, but do you think,
You know, I don't think ISIS was a thing back then. So,
your dog is not involved with this.
well, she
Oh, I
should
miss
be.
I would like
her.
her to be.
What
though.
if,
I
like-
miss that dog.
I mean, so this was
Like
like
icebergs?
somewhat before the Industrial Revolution really took off.
Actually, they probably
So-
didn't deal with them because most of the ports were.
ice caps were probably not melting as fast, so
Well,
therefore
they're
they were
probably
just still
there,
up there.
Less cow farts.
But a lot of them, the
methane.
the Titanic was during winter months where icebergs and stuff like that were flowing a bit further south, and it's been known that the route the Titanic took was further north than plotted.
Yeah.
They ended up going miles north further than what they were supposed to,
Mhm.
and ended up going into more of Arctic waters, which is why they're why when they're looking for the wreck before, they were like, this is not where it was supposed to be. We're not finding any wreckage during this line. And then they started gradually going north before they actually found the wreckage of the Titanic, which is why it took so long to find the Titanic
Yeah,
wreckage.
it wasn't
Wasn't
until,
the
like,
charted-
80s, right?
No, yeah, you don't just whip a ship out like that and be like, all right, let's go to New York. You have a chart and maps, and there's
Yeah.
some guy whose job that is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
But it turns
map
out
guy,
like,
Terry the map guy.
But it
map
turns
dude.
out like
Bob.
there's
Bob.
a
Bob
bunch
the
of
map.
Bob.
like there's a bunch of failures on like the captain and the navigator and the people running the maps and that. There was like a multiple chain of like it was brought up, hey, we're off course, and it was like a couple times the captain's like, oh no, we're fine. I've already checked the maps. I know what I'm doing.
Just
And
go
it was
straight.
all like, and there's people going up. We are way
we'll hit
off.
land eventually.
They're like, we're way off course, and they're like, look at the stars. They're like, they're way over here,
That's
and it
how,
should be
that's how
over
they
here.
navigate
And
a lot
we're
of
like,
the
we're too
times.
far north. We're starting to see ice, and like we shouldn't be seeing ice because we should be sailing like from where they're setting sailing from. It should be like a southwestern sort
Well,
of.
they had also received reports of ice from other ships.
Yeah, reports up icebergs and potential hazards that they should turn south, and that they're like, you're too far north. We heard of your manifest.
The
saying you
ship
should
is
be-
unsinkable. We have 6 watertight compartments. Thing ain't going down. Well, all of them filled up, pal.
Yeah,
Turns out. ships
Turns
can
out.
sink.
And she went ass up.
she did.
and then split in half.
You know, the shittiest part about a big ship sinking like that is that if something sinks like that, it usually draws everything else down.
Yeah.
So you
there
can't
are
really
people.
swing
Yeah.
away.
Well, they portrayed that in the movie Titanic.
yeah, no,
Yeah, they're
it's-
getting,
My heart
everybody
will
gets
go
sucked out
on.
unless you're in an actual lifeboat getting away, and even some of the lifeboats were getting sucked back into that.
Yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
seems
and
to be a
goddamn it,
shortage
Rose,
of
there was
lifeboats,
room
not a
on
problem.
there for Leo. Leo could have fucking been up there with you.
I hate that.
He
bitch.
coulda fit-
I
he coulda
always
fit on
hated
that
bitch
goddamn
for that.
door.
No, I defend her. I defend that whole situation because he tried getting up and the water it started sinking. Just because he can fit doesn't mean it's gonna float right.
You need to put more effort into surviving and not dying of hypothermia, Leo.
Yeah, it's back
Yeah.
to the indentured
You know what?
servants
If you
thing.
want to see
Yeah.
those tits,
Try harder.
Stop
Just
being
try
cold.
Leo,
harder.
you want to see those tits again? Just because you drew them and you have a good fucking mental image doesn't mean you want to see them in life again.
Leo, just as soon as she leaves, I'm gonna save this. Like,
this is pretty funny. We're talking about this. I was listening to a podcast
yeah?
last night. It's called My
listen to
Brother, My
podcasts?
Brother and Me. I do, but it's a funny podcast, and they're talking about what they do. They do like Yahoo questions, and one of them is, "How can you fix the movie Titanic?" And one was like, "I got it."
To fix? There's nothing to
Yeah,
fix.
yeah, exactly.
That
But
movie's perfect.
it's an amazing movie.
yeah,
Like,
but the guy's like, if you could,
I
if
saw
there's
it 3 times in theaters.
It's
I was in
fantastic.
kindergarten. That's a lot for a kid.
that is a lot
yeah,
for
no,
a kid.
they let
3
you
out-
see that 3 times.
3 hours
why
for a
not?
kid.
That's 3 pairs
But
of
I was
tits.
obsessed with Titanic. I was a nerd. I was a total nerd.
I will never forgive my
Nerd.
mother for not letting me see Lord of the Rings movies in theaters. I hope she's listening to this right now because they were rated PG-13. I was 10 years old, and that's bullshit because I played Gears of War where they cut people in half with chainsaws. All I wanted to see was the Rohirrim.
All I wanted to see some hobbits take a long walk.
Yeah,
that took
no, like
8 hours
yeah, come
of
on.
my fucking
As you were
life.
saying,
This
Dave.
is art.
There, so and the podcast, they're like, I know what we can do. What if the entire movie is focused on this animated cartoon iceberg, and you hang out with him, and all of a sudden he gets hit by a boat.
Like he become.
I like it.
He has a whole character arc.
Yeah,
everything,
and
like
his
he's a
arms go
cynical
up, and he's got
asshole,
that weird
and
gurgle.
He's just becoming.
No, he's like the lovable animated iceberg that he gets hit by a boat.
And he's all like,
He's just chilling. Like,
It's an hour and 45 minutes of just iceberg floating there.
Yeah.
Then it gets hit by a boat. And
oh,
then
he's probably got a sweet monologue too.
oh
Yeah,
no,
he's monologuing the
his
whole
script
time.
Is
and
very
he
well
probably has
written.
other
Like,
icebergs coming on, and he's talking to other ships. He's like, "Hey, yo, good for looking out, bro. Would have sucked if you hit me. That would have hurt so bad." I was like, "Man, I would have hate that had that happen
Hey,
to
it's
me."
gonna get pretty close. I can read the name. It's T.I. and then just.
I'm sure they'll move.
and then he's
I
all
should
like,
move, yeah.
and
I'm
it's
sure
like,
they'll move. It'll
oh
be
no,
okay.
the whole time the Titanic's coming, he's flipping the fuck out,
Yeah,
screaming,
yeah.
just
He
so
sees-
like,
he's-
move, no,
He sees it's like a speck on the horizon.
don't hit me, no, please, God, stay away, no, oh my son,
Damn.
My son, God,
Tiny little iceberg.
Oh my God! He's throwing little things in the water. Fuck it! I'm gonna get disease. Oh, there's disease in the water. Fuck! Ah, no!
God damn, all that waveform.
Mine's gold.
I got loud.
I took the mic away from my mouth.
They're getting rowdy.
But that's all it is, and he's losing his shit. And it's all like, and then eventually it turns into hatred of like, good, you fucking stink. I hope you die. Look what you did to
As
my
he's
arm."
dying, just like.
One of their other complaints was, why not have sex in a cooler car?
Yeah. Model T is not very cool.
Yeah, no, that's the regular people car. Come on, at least get something Italian.
I watched, speaking of, I watched Ford v Ferrari the other day. Good movie. Good.
I heard that was good.
I mean, it's Christian Bale finally getting to play an Englishman, and then
Destiny.
Matt Damon.
Finally?
Yeah.
Matt
Besides
Damon.
Reign of Fire and maybe a couple other movies, but Matt Damon plays Carol Shelby. Awesome movie.
Matt
It was-
Damon.
Matt Damon.
Every time I see Saving Private Ryan, I cannot take his
We're
character
guards.
seriously.
So there's a group leader at work. His name's Matt Burner. So same 2-syllable last name. So when I was acting team leader and I had the radio, I would always be like, Matt Burner on the radio for the whole paint shop to hear. Anybody with a radio heard Matt Burner. One time I got on the intercom and did it. Matt Burner. Sealer deck.
Good.
Oh goodness.
Good. I'm
Good.
glad. Like,
I'm happy.
There were
for you.
times, so they'd pull, there was like a little, so the next area after us, and then there was another area right outside of theirs where they would put stuff off to the side for some fixins, and they would always call me and be like, hey, we got this needs fixed, and I would always be like, yeah, I don't feel like it right now. I was the asshole. I would immediately go over there, obviously, but like, I'd be like, nope, don't think I feel like doing that. You can have
straight Office Space level of apathy.
Oh,
just like,
totally.
yeah, I'm just gonna leave. Like,
Oh, set the building on fire.
All right, I do want to try this one. This is the one I want to
Austin
try.
is opening a beer.
You better chug that. We're almost done.
Oh God.
oh goodness.
He got beer on me.
Ooh.
It's okay though.
You've had worse things on you, Dave.
It's true. I've rubbed pizza on myself.
Was it hot?
No, it's cold pizza.
Okay. I
This
was
one
just
smells
wondering.
It's during
too,
a
but I'm gonna
show.
drink it.
Let me
Yeah,
just
I
say
was
it.
like, I'm worried about you.
I'm good.
Dave, Yoki,
It's a
would you like to-
Berliner
I will try
style
it again.
ale.
Berliner.
Berliner Weiss.
But the thing is, it actually
Not a
has
Berliner
that
Weiss.
traditional Berliner taste to it.
The
Yeah.
Soviets are looking for you.
So
That's a
German.
good one.
It's okay.
Vida Vi. Yep.
Yep.
I like it.
That means
I
good.
give that a solid 8 out of 10.
5 out of
It's
7.
decent.
5 out of 7.
5
Perfect
out of
beer.
7. That's amazing. The scale has been broken by the
Solid,
sheer wrath.
solid story. I love.
Yep.
I love that.
I give
name.
it a solid 3/5 compromise.
Oh.
Ooh, too soon?
Oh.
Always
It's like
soon.
a pizza cutter, all edge with no point.
Ah!
We've had a very miscellaneous podcast today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For a
toolbox.
show, for a podcast, it's already
For-
miscellaneous. This is super miscellaneous.
How much time we got? We got time to.
Let's have like one more
We have as
topic
much time as
and
we
then-
want.
and then dive into the recommendations.
So, with the current chain of events and everything, what do you think of what is it? Shit, I just lost the word I was thinking of. Let me pull up my text messages. and I
Riot's
will
good or
tell you-
riot's bad? Go.
Where is it?
See, it's complicated, isn't it?
It is really complicated.
What have you heard of, and what do you think of ranked choice voting?
Ranked choice voting? What the fuck is that?
I've
Ranked
never
choi-
heard of that.
Ranked
Yeah.
choice voting is that you like everybody voted in the primaries just a couple weeks ago,
I
right?
did.
And you know how you went in, you had to pick a party.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I was like, I hated that.
I'm not a
it
Democrat
was-
or a Republican.
Neither
so.
am I. I wanted to
Anarchist.
have a full choice, but instead of going in and going, I am voting Democrat or I'm voting Republican or I am voting as I would like to have libertarian, or at least just had a choice of everybody.
Like, can we not have a themed room for it? Like,
But
is that it?
ranked choice voting goes, you look at every candidate that's running for this position, and you rank them on who you think would be best for that position or who
Okay.
you agree with the most. So you rank one person top 1, 2, 3, 4.
And they just average
So
it
they
out.
and they
gauge
average it
how
out, and so
popular
if
people
the-
are
you-
more.
Huh.
So
Hmm.
it goes to whoever just beats out the number one most wanted is the one they're going to get. But if that doesn't, and then if there's a tie for a bunch of it, you drop off.
Battle to the death.
You drop off
Thunderdome.
the bottom ones, and you go by whoever voted. So whoever voted them won. Well, you go who's number 2 on theirs, and then you give those votes to the other people, and you go so forth. So it just slowly eliminates candidates until they find an absolute candidate everybody can agree on the
Okay.
most for who they would do it. I actually have a
Hmm.
bunch of links. I've been trying to research it as much as I can and get into it as much as I can, but it sounds good because it's not just you're only looking at this one side, that you're not looking at this one Democratic side and you're only seeing those candidates. Because when I was in my voting booth, I chose Democrat because
Yeah, same.
most of the Republicans and stuff I see I have no interest in even voting for. But I noticed there's a bunch of blank. There's no candidates or only single candidate, and I'm like, well, why can't I just see all candidates? Because maybe there could have been a Republican candidate I would have been more inclined to vote for other than this Democratic one. It's like, why can't I get a choice at everybody? And it seems like it's really just piping people into a certain group and forcing them to only see that instead of being able to see everybody,
that's
all the
the idea.
possibilities. like
Yeah.
it's like
They
I
want
looked at
lifelong Republicans. They want lifelong.
I looked at that
Democrats.
because the last set of primaries and everything back in like 2016 and then the 2018 primaries and that for Congress and the Senate and the House and all that libertarians were gaining ground. And then now I see where I'm not seeing any libertarian candidates, and I'm like, there used to be a handful of libertarian candidates in our local elections, and now I don't see them. I didn't see them on the ballot at all, and I'm like, are we so ingrained into a political system that's so broken that we're
locking everybody else
locking out whatever isn't popular? I'm like, that's
I don't
beyond
know.
frustrating.
Yeah.
So, you know what's beyond frustrating is this entire podcast, I've been waiting to order my tacos from El Chicano. I just go to order and it says they're closed.
What?
At what? 6 o'clock.
Well, yeah, they also close at 5 o'clock on Taco Tuesday.
No,
Well,
they
that's
just don't
communist.
open on Tuesdays,
Oh, they've been open on Tuesday.
do they?
Yeah, but they close super early.
I thought there was like a law against that on a Mexican restaurant closing on Taco Tuesday.
Nope.
I thought there was.
I think there is.
About that, but
Honestly, now I know what to go protest. There
I'm
needs to be
sorry,
legislation.
Dick, you did
Let's
not
do
get
it.
your El Chicano today.
I guess tomorrow.
Tomorrow. You know what I'm going to try to do tomorrow?
Hmm.
Sushi Don, half price sushi.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
Ah,
Not big into
yes.
sushi.
Good times.
Enjoy the worms. I've tried sushi so many times, just not for me.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Like, I'm not so
Man.
much of the raw fish side,
Sushi buds.
but I love
want
their deep
tacos.
fried rolls and all that
I like
stuff.
tacos too.
I want tacos.
I had tacos.
I had
know you
tacos
did.
yesterday.
That's why I was gonna get El Chicano.
I had
'cause
Las
you got El
Brazas
Chicano.
tacos.
Yeah. I smashed those so
favorite.
fast.
You smashed them faster than
There's-
anybody I've ever seen smash tacos in my life.
Did you enjoy them?
Oh, absolutely.
But you just like absorb them.
He
Three-
did.
Your
three
mass.
bites.
Rubbed them on
piece.
his face.
3 bites and they're gone.
That must be some good tacos. There's a
There's-
lot of very, very good locally owned like
You know,
taco
I
shacks
my
in
over
Lafayette.
quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. I made it a goal of mine to go to every taco place in town. I went to Las Brazas over
It's
here.
my
It
favorite.
was okay.
That's my favorite.
It's okay. I tried the Al Pastor. It was okay.
You shut up. It's my favorite.
Brett told me to try the Al Pastor. He's like, it'll change your life. I'm like,
Where's
"It's
this one
okay."
located at?
It's right over here on Teal.
Oh, that one's just garbage.
Shut up. It's my favorite.
So then I tried
I think it's good, Dave.
Senor Taco.
Thank you.
Tried Senor Taco. That was okay.
Senior taco.
The next one I tried, El Chicano. Amazing. Didn't want to go anywhere else. Stopped my journey there.
Just like, well, I feel like this isn't broken, so I'm gonna try to
It's not broken, and
There's
it's really
El
close.
Torito, which is further up the street across from
El Maison.
that's
Oh, sounds
across
good. I like
from
my son.
Aces Hardware. Not
Yeah.
but not Aces, but Von Tobel
Yeah.
up Earl.
Yeah.
They are really good. They have great tacos. Their Taco Tuesday deals are like $1.25 tacos.
How would their steak like consistency compare to El Chicano? Because
Better.
El Chicano is like
El Chicano comes off dry to me. These guys moist.
moist, nice.
Wet. That's some wet meat.
But I went
no
to
awkward things to say
I went
to
to
the line
Taco
chef really
Rica.
makes your order.
I wanna
Holy
say-
shit, that meat is wet.
What's it called again?
Can I have extra wet meat, please?
Oh, it's
Can you do it again? I want extra
El
wet meat.
Torito? I think I want to say it is. Torito.
Squeeze it up to my face.
I might be saying it wrong, but it's
That's
right
good wet
across from
meat.
Von Tobel in that little
Could be a good
pavilion
gamer
thing.
tag, wet meat.
That
Sounds
little
like two wet sticks
that little
sandwich.
L-shaped strip mall with the bookstore right there.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm on Grubhub right now.
It's right there. I went to Taco Rico just the other day with
Hooters. That comes
Brett
up
and
as If I
Zach.
search tacos, Hooters comes up.
Hooters.
Awesome.
but
TikTok.
they
They got them tacos at
I
Hooters.
couldn't believe how awful Taco Rico was. The salsa was just tasted like they got some store bought salsa, the cheapest they could get, and they watered it down. And then the chips were stale as fuck. The
Like me.
the horchata
Me too,
was
bro.
not
I
even
can't wait to be
good.
30.
The taco
Just
was
kidding.
bullshit. And then the tostadas were actually really good.
This makes me so mad that it's fucking closed.
I want
'Cause
tacos
I
now.
wanted it so bad.
I had Las Brazos tacos for lunch, and they were delicious yesterday.
Sorry.
They were delicious.
I might go to the Las Brazos. 'Cause
They're
it's right
delicious.
here, and it's like fuck it.
I had the carnitas.
Actually, the
and their
El
al pastor.
Torito
And
should
chorizo.
be open too.
Chorizo. Absolute favorite chorizo.
Chorizo's
It's
great.
not popping up on Grubhub though.
Yeah, because
Which is
they
Spanish
don't do
for the
Grubhub
spicy
because Grubhub
sausage.
rips off
Yeah, I think
everybody
I
they
actually was
use.
with one of my very Caucasian friends, and they were like, "Hey, would you like Mexican spicy sausage?" And she was like, "No, I want chorizo." And I'm like, "See, this is why I don't bring you places." Like-
I might get Las Brazos because I just want a taco.
Just
Their-
one taco?
Their tacos are so lacking though.
I mean, in terms of taste, yeah.
Taste
I think you're wrong.
and
Texture,
and just all over.
their
just,
meat's garbage.
Your meat's garbage.
Wow,
Well, we know
Yeah,
that.
suck it.
their meat's garbage. I can't.
They got good wet meat.
Good wet meat.
They
You heard
have
it here.
they have like really mediocre meat. The Al Pastor was not terrible. It was
How
way
are
better.
you saying that?
Al Pastor? I don't know.
Al
I'm
Pastor?
white.
It's
I'm
Al.
white.
Caucasian.
It's
too.
Al Pastor.
Al
He's my
Pastor.
neighbor.
It's a El Pastor.
Al Pastor.
Albert
Yeah,
Pastor. He's
that's
my
right
neighbor.
Right on. I had never
I'm the owner,
heard it
and that's
before.
Manuel.
I had never heard it before. I only read it. So
Yeah, you don't throw that R into it. It's El Pastor.
got
No, it's Albert Pastor.
Okay. Let's get this closing. So, any recommendations that you guys want people to check out?
I had one that I forgot it.
Oh,
City of Thieves.
City of Thieves. What is that?
It's the book that I said for like 2 seconds. Like
Nice.
Siege of
Go-
Leningrad, people eating each other. It's crazy,
It-
man. Grim Vistage of War in the 40s.
I've heard
Do
of
it.
that book, actually. I would recommend the Three Body Problem and those books.
Yeah. Yeah.
I highly recommend. I haven't finished because I'm a piece of shit and I'm terrible.
I
and
finished
I
my book.
really
Austin.
need to finish
Found
it.
it. I got one.
I think I might do that tomorrow. That might be my thing I do tomorrow.
I recommend Dave.
I also recommend. I don't recommend
Nice.
Dave.
I also recommend taking on another journey into Skyrim if you haven't in a minute.
Journey to Skyrim.
PS5, Bethesda. We've got Skyrim.
Yeah, I know, it just-
Guys,
Todd Howard's here.
Actually-
Guess what he's got? Like-
Rockstar already beat him to it, going, "Hey,
Yeah, they
PS5, we're gonna give you GTA 5
and it's just like awesome.
again."
Now I can have a giant fancy cube with a bunch of really nice graphics to play the same games I played.
And it's like,
on the
wait,
last generation.
Wait, where's my new Red Dead game though? Because Red Dead 2 was so good,
It
and
was very good.
why can't I get another Red Dead game for
Should be getting
PS5?
GTA 6 though.
I think that's what they're working on. Aren't they supposed to be?
Yeah.
If anything, if they're gonna re-release a game for PS5 that's like one of their games that everybody's loving on, re-release Red Dead 2. It's still fresh, and people are like, "Man, I would totally play that game again if I had like a higher bit rate and clear graphics and stuff, and maybe, you know, where my dead eye wasn't so jerky when I fucking went into it, so I could get better headshots in
I'm
fucking
excited
3
for
seconds."
Horizon.
Horizon 2.
Horizon's gonna be
Oh,
good. I'm very excited for that.
Fuck.
I
Horizon.
knew they were gonna announce either Horizon or God of War, one of the two.
Oh,
sequels.
I recently played through the Horizon series again. I got back
All
on it and
game
did
of it?
another playthrough with the DLC and
Yeah.
everything and all that. And fuck, dude, that
So good,
was so good.
so good. I predicted that it was either gonna be God of War or Horizon. I got Horizon. I was like, sweet. I'm pretty excited at the thought, at just my own fan theory going in my head of like how a next gen Monster Hunter world would be. So I'm stoked.
Monster Hunter Apocalypse.
Oh my god. I can't wait to see what they do with Monster Hunter.
I just
What
wanna
if they
see
do a Monster Hunter
Battlefield not suck.
Apocalypse when you have
Frowny face.
I've
No,
I've followed Monster Hunter a bit where you have like all these like they keep there's like more monsters and new ones coming about and
I want
stuff
open
where it's
world
like
Monster Hunter.
that'd be great.
No load screens. Just go between towns and stuff. There's but
It-
in between towns.
That's one of the things that held me back about Monster Hunter. I was like, if it was a big open world Monster Hunter, like a monster, like when it was like Monster Hunter World, I'm like, oh, cool, it's an open world. And then I was watching you play it and keep up, and I'm like, well, why are there always load screens? Why isn't it like a big open world?
There's not nearly as many load screens as there used to be. Normally, like at least they've made it so when you go into the quest, it's all one big map, and you don't have to load in between the zones. And before you would go to a different zone, load screen, different zone, load screen.
Load screen.
Loading.
I just want Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, that'd be hot.
Yeah.
Really,
But I think we're gonna get Skyrim, the way Fallout 76 happened.
Skyrim
there's-
2.
Actually,
I would accept a Skyrim too, as long as it was an actual Skyrim.
Skyrim 2.
Where is it?
Alduin's back, and he's
I have a
pissed.
recommendation.
Skyrim Evolution. Yeah.
I have something to
Skyrim
recommend.
Todd Howard edition, just his face.
Skyrim Pit Boy Edition. That was
Ooh.
Oh, they added.
What about
new DLC.
Starfield? Have you heard
Starfield.
of
I think I know
Starfield?
about that. Yeah.
Which is actually the game Bethesda's been working on for
Yes,
a while, which is
yes.
why Elder Scrolls 6 has been delayed so much because they've been putting so much into Starfield.
Well,
If you
better
haven't
fucking
heard of
go.
it, I highly recommend anybody listening or you guys here getting into a Google search of it and really looking into that because
Yeah.
it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Nick Maxon actually turned me on to this if he's still
I don't
possibly
think
around.
he is. He normally doesn't last long. He lasted a lot longer in this stream than he normally does. Normally
It's
he
harsh,
just-
bro. Don't
Normally
bring
he
up
just
your friends
acci-
lasting. It's rude. It's rude.
Normally he just
Best
clicks.
4
He
minutes of
accidentally
her
clicks,
life.
and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm not actually here." Bye. But no, he was here for a while. I don't think he's here anymore though.
He did give a good shout out
It's
to Three
showing
Body
0
Problem.
viewers on Facebook.
But yeah, read Three Body Problem. Check out Starfield. Yeah. There's also in my going back through my Safari pages on my iPhone, Smite. I was trying to look up that game too and see what it was about.
Well, guys,
So
I have a
slight shout
recommendation.
to that.
It's something I don't recommend very often because it's not in my MO. I recommend death metal.
death metal.
So it's a band called Blood Incantation.
Okay.
Pilot was yelling at me about it for about 20 minutes Saturday, and I checked it out today. It's real good.
Oh
Nice.
yeah,
It's,
I've been listening to those
What's
guys.
the name of the album? Hidden History of the Human Race.
Hidden
Check
History
that
of the
out.
Human Race. It's actually a blue cover with a green alien on it, and it's in the middle, kind of.
It's real good.
Thing. I got that album earlier this year or late last year, and as soon as I got it, I listened to it for about a month straight.
It's real good.
Super
Nice.
good. If you like the heavier stuff, like death metal kind of vibe, it's good, but it'll really tickle your prog metal feels.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm.
I'm about to do a review of
It's-
the new Lamb of God album and the new Mushroom Head
I
album.
want to say it's like 5
Nice.
tracks, and it's a little over 30 minutes, almost a
Just need
40-minute album on
Me too.
4 or
Me
5
too,
tracks.
buddy.
Live though.
I did.
So it'll get your prog. It'll get your prog boner going.
I really like that band
Prog
Nick was
boner.
playing. ... and Oceans.
And Oceans.
Yeah, I like that.
That was good.
That was some good shit. Well-
Actually, now that you say that, I'm going to fucking pull up my fucking.
It's
iTunes-
fucking.
I'm going to pull up my iTunes store
I'm gonna
and
pull up
search up
fucking.
some and
I
Oceans.
do that when I go home.
Oh shit.
Well, guys, Patrick, thank you for coming.
Absolutely, dude.
It's been a blast. Austin, it's been a real good time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate
It's been fun.
Dave?
It's been fun.
it. It's always a good
I always
time.
love you
I always love you.
forever. I would pull you up onto that door, floating in the Atlantic.
Really?
He might even sacrifice himself.
Oh,
Oh
I'm
shit!
Verse.
I know my heart will go on.
Yeah. And if I have one recommendation, that is to please make every day a big dick day.
He said it. He said the
wait,
thing.
wait.
Do it.
I have another recommendation.
shit!
If you
Well, he said the thing.
Fucking
if
boo.
you're
You
at
can't-
water level, do not stand up on the pier of the ship and say you're on top of the world because you are literally not on the top of the
No, you're
world.
not. You're at
Zero.
water level.
You're at water level, not
You're
top
at,
of the
you're
world.
at
Didn't pay attention in
equilibrium.
science class.
Nope.
Say it
I
again.
don't
Say it
think they
again.
had
Say it again,
science.
Dick.
Say
Say
it
it again,
again.
Dick.
Say it again, Dick.
Hey, say the thing
Do it.
tonight.
You. What does he mean right there? Tonight, you was a
What's that supposed to mean?
put flames in my pool. It's like my pool's tearing your ass around the yard.
Oh,
I'm just
check
a
out the
dog.
Czech rapper called Ice Pick.
Oh, the Russians.
The Russian.
Oh, I love them,
Czech
dude.
guy.
They just made a new album, and if you translate any of those lyrics, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, check him out. He's
All right, guys. If that is all, please make every day a big dick day. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Wu-Tang forever.
All right, bye.